How you doing? Can you hear me?
There we go. Hello.
Hello, Johannes.
Yes, Sheldon.
Yes, nice meeting you.
Likewise. How are you?
Yeah, very good. Are you in Gothenburg now, are you? Or?
I actually live in Finland.
Oh,
The rest of the guys are around Gothenburg, I reckon. Yeah, no, but I'm at home. If
oh, okay.
that's the real question.
Sorry, I was at home. No, it's just that my last Swedish guy was from Gothenburg, Key Marcello. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Most of us are really.
yeah. Hey, so thank you so much for joining me, mate. Appreciate this.
My pleasure.
Um, so before we go to your album and your tour, so what is it about Swedish culture and metal? They seem to integrate very well, not just Sweden, but Finland and Norway. What is it about this culture?
Um, Number one, I think it's less of it today in a good way, as in that you know since the mid 90s, people start to have modems at home, and we start to connect with a more global scene outside of, well, all the people in generation above us had pen pals in Brazil and US and whatnot. But still, I feel when the Sweden we came up in, still there's some big differences between that and the Sweden that at the Gates or Entombed or In Flames and all those people came up in.
Yeah,
That
sure.
being said, there are a couple of things. Um, Big overarching things is strong welfare states where culturally kids doing music didn't seem like a too awful ideas if you asked parents, teachers, government, or whatever. Meaning there were rehearse rooms, there were youth centers to play and battle of the bands to compete in and stuff. I
Hmm.
mean, so there's a encouraging culture, I think, relative to many places in the world. We're not alone in this, but I think always were very good at that. Welfare state also means that there are various paths that you could wander where you can afford failure.
Yeah,
If education is free, you don't have to run to school immediately,
yeah,
uh, and stuff like that. I think all of those overarching, big macro politics things plays a role. Then you got the culture overall, uh, and just the mindset that historically, if you listen to the folk music of the places, the kind that resonates quite a bit also with um, uh, that fits in with metal pretty well historically. We see the very outright full-on folk inspired metal stuff, but then also in more subtle ways you find it in a lot of places. uh, then so I mean, so metal just resonated with people. Then there are copycats effects, I think, because
hmm,
Sweden, especially speaking Sweden specifically, when once we had ABBA, and you have an example of, oh, you can be Swedish and world famous. I think that plays a role in confidence. And nowadays, like, Sweden just exports not just metal but music in droves compared to the size of the country. It's
yeah.
crazy how what a presence we have in charts and stuff. And it's a lot of focus on you know the pop people in Stockholm who have written songs since the days of TLC for
Mm,
international stars and do it to this day.
mm,
Uh, but so it's just, most people don't know where the town of Fagersta is in Sweden, but a
yeah,
lot of people have heard of the hives,
yeah.
and a lot of little Fagerstas in Sweden have their own little the hives.
Mm,
So for our case, being born in the 80s, there are a lot of musicians born in the 70s that went to the same school or from the same town or played the same little shit venue or did
mm,
all these things that we so there was no doubt in, like, people looking like us, people where we are from, can absolutely make something out of themselves.
sure.
Uh, so that builds a fundamental confidence. Then there are other little important things. I've seen interviews and hear it mentioned by a lot of people like Mikkel Åkerfeldt and whatnot. And then I have talked to people about it, like Niklas Engelin and Anders Fridén. Um, the thing where in the early 80s, Swedish state television, this is the age of 2 channels on TV in Sweden. If you didn't have some cable and that international stuff.
Yeah.
And they would do a midnight showing of a metal festival in Germany. On the billing was Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Michael Schenkel Group, Crocus, and a lot of stuff. You'll find it on YouTube. I think they were in Dortmund. Everybody saw that. Everybody stayed up late and watched that. So there are a lot of moving parts to it. And then it's also perception internationally, where there was a time like, oh, new metal band from Sweden. You're almost a fan of the nationality of a band on the get-go, where so you get chances. For instance, I believe now, if we look, I think you'll see there's this, door opening effect now with Gojira being one of the biggest metal bands in the world, will make the perception of what a French metal band is much more accessible to people in their minds, or Alien Weaponry in New Zealand, or of course Ginger for Ukraine. That kind of that those things, as much as they shouldn't matter to people. And again, now I feel it is more global, and it matters less and less where you're from, and it's not so ethnocentric, or what you want to call it, as it used to be. So I mean, still there's a vast majority of metal musicians that look in one way or another like we look in Avatar, but you got less of that all the time, and I think that's very, very healthy. So a lot of things play a part.
Sure. Let's talk about your album. I know it's been 6 months since the release of Dance Devil Dance, but congratulations anyway.
Thank you.
The band must be quite happy about the success of the album.
Absolutely.
We,
it's the thing that it all comes down to what job description we have formulated for ourselves. That is kind of specific in that we want to write and record our own material and perform our own material, then take that, what we do, as far as we possibly can in terms of growing the band and whatnot, in a way where we remain friends, where we keep having fun. And Dance Devil Dance is a continuation of that. So because it is ours, and more hours than ever before, because we release it on our own label even, and all those things, makes us immensely proud of the success. That is a very unfiltered version of where we are at. That is working,
Yeah. If we can talk about the album, Dance Devil Dance, the track itself. At the start of it, you've got that demonic growl, like step inside the circle, and then you transition into that high octave, I'm Satan, I'm freedom. And then finally, you've got that high falsetto E flat, or whatever you call it, Dance Devil Dance, woo, So the funny thing is that, well, at the start of it feels intimidating, and then it feels more human, and towards the end, it feels like you right now, Just curious, like when you sing a song with the deep growl and then the conventional vocals, is it meant to portray 2 different characters? One's the devil, one's the good, or I'm just curious.
No, I don't think that's what's going on. It's first and foremost, it's a musical aesthetic choice, just like what you want to put across musically. That of course connects lyrically.
Yep.
But yeah, to me, it's definitely a journey that, ramping up energy, that the growl is dynamically, loud, and it's intense and, like say, intimidating, but still information wise, somehow it adds intensity to me in my mind when melody is another layer of information and another way of ramping it up. And also because that the way I sing that song in particular, it's, of course, we open our sets with it nowadays, as with being the song it is, and representing what it represents, and being an opening track and everything. It's a bitch to sing because it just keeps going and going and going, and it's only at the end where I hit really high notes, but it's really always in a place where I need to put my whole body into it, so it doesn't really let loose. So just standing there, it's like a high intensity cardio exercise, just standing and singing it. But no, it's all me in my mind, and all part of the same red thread.
Yeah, it's good to know. So you've been in the band, well, you're part of the original band since 2001. Do you feel like your sound, the sound of the band, the way it portrays itself, have changed over the last 20 years? Because I think 20 years ago, you're more of a death metal. And do you feel that now it's more the avant-garde metal or melodic metal, what we call it?
Well, I think of it in terms of heavy metal, rock and roll, very broad strokes, and then I know we do very eclectic things in it, and just a history of what we played, learning to play music means that we always stand on a pillar of extreme metal, although we do something you can shake your hips to with it, basically. So I think in broad strokes, in terms of naming it, and then every song becomes what it needs to be. And I'm sure ultimately, once you start to look back and really think about it from an outside perspective that I don't have, I'm sure you can summarize it stylistically better than we have any interest in doing. But of course, like, the thing is, Avatar has such a long history because we, the history of many bands, if not most bands, is that, a bunch of kids, boys and girls, start a band, and it's fine, you learn to play and stuff, and then the 2-3 more driven kids outgrow the other members, and then down the street or one town over, it's exactly the same story being told, and those 2 and 3 kids meet those 2 and 3 kids, and that becomes the band. There are a lot of those kind of stories, I think, but Avatar we were both those bands. We were clueless 14, 15, 16-year-olds trying to figure out what our idols were doing, covering them, until we started to come up with our own stuff. And we started so young that, of course, there's been a lot of evolution of the band and finding yourself along, we started in the middle of puberty, and then somehow, have been able to survive the wild 20s of, 20-year-old men are immortal, and everything that comes with that mindset and lifestyle, into now our 30s and paying a mortgage. And somehow Avatar has traveled with us. And I think, like, for instance, I'm a huge Devin Townsend fan. Happy to, on some degree, be able to call him friend nowadays because we toured together and stuff. And my favorite aspect of what he's doing is always this thing that it is that whatever he puts out is always this total reflection of where he is at right now. So you only get one album of Devin Townsend entering his 30s.
Yeah.
Then you get that one album of him being, having a baby, or you get one album of him starting drugs or quitting drugs or whatever, or turning 50 years old. And just being totally honest with that, never relying on any successful formula of the past. And because that's the process, there's always that chance of that his greatest work is in front of him, because it's never about recreating some magic of a certain phase in your life. And we resonate very much with that sense of motion, forward motion, in creating music. And as such, Avatar has, of course, changed a lot and will continue to change a lot, because I want to believe in a future where we enter our 70s and we still figure out a way to be curious, hungry, and give a damn about doing this together. It'll be a beautiful thing. But it will be, hopefully, we have evolved as much as enough as people to have the music be something different then.
Yeah. And over the last 20 years, Avatar have been accused or maybe complimented, as a band that promotes the occult, Satanism, or whatnots. Some people say that no, that is just part of the entertainment. What's your take on that? I mean, yeah, if you don't mind me asking.
I feel like we have heard very little from that end of it, because there's so much more explicit use of it. That being said, in our case, it is not just entertainment. but then it's part of entertainment.
Mm.
But specifically with this album, I do sing I'm Satan, I'm freedom, and that defines maybe what idea what Satan symbolizes to me at this time. I don't believe in anything, so to speak, so atheist. That being said, there's room for spirituality still, I think, in your life, no matter if you believe in hocus pocus or unseen things. And what I came to realize is the power of rituals and the power of symbols. And even without the hocus pocus and casting a spell on someone or whatnot, that I find is nonsense. But we still blow out candles on our birthday cakes. We still like to eat certain foods at certain time of the year. And somehow, even if I'm not a Christian, I still love celebrating Christmas. My own interpretation of it, and our own in this household's interpretation of it, but I feel you create long lines in life through rituals where somehow at Christmas you get to have a conversation with dead ancestors, you know, in a way, because you reflect on it, you put yourself in a certain mindset. And the same, you know, when we talk about symbols, even if I don't believe that Jesus Christ died for our sins and all of that, I still can acknowledge the power that the crucifix has in the world on a daily basis, or a power, the disgust that comes with, you know, if you live in the northwestern hemisphere, the swastika doesn't quite mean the same as it does in India, and it's funny to see, you know, but you know the steep sense of disgust that comes with that just speaks of the power of symbols and why they matter. And for me, acknowledging that, you know, Satan, I like the name Satan is, you know, of course older than the Abrahamic religions, and you can root it in Zoroastrianism as far as I've learned, and the meaning has come to change through the years. But the idea of an antichrist, meaning an adversary to this current status quo or current state of affairs, where, because the more conventional fellows in scripture that people tend to follow, you know, to me come off as very authoritarian, misogynistic, a lot of things. And if then Satan is the antithesis to that, then you have a egalitarian, feministic harbinger of democracy. And I like that. And also where you position yourself, if I don't believe in a higher power, who is this figure? And I believe then that the power and ability to change yourself, change the world, be accountable, in that sense, there comes that satanic idea of putting yourself at the center of things. And with that interpretation of mind, Satan as a symbol for yourself is what is being explored here. And then if I connect that with, again, speaking symbolically and not religiously, but animism and the connection to nature, it's just a way of structuring and find ways to connect yourself to the world around you. And that part is, you know, is in itself not entertainment. But then I'm an artist. I write songs, and I write songs about where I am at. That's what we do as a band, musically and lyrically. And we use that where we are at thing, you know, and then you try to make people, again, bang their heads, shake their hips, and sing a good chorus on that. So then it becomes part of entertainment. And they're not mutually exclusive.
So I think what you just mentioned just then sort of correlates to the lyrics, I am Satan, I'm freedom in the dance, we will dance.
Yeah, because that happened, that thought came during the pandemic. I tried to start to jog a bit further. So, and you know, have this 13K circuit that I do from time to time. And, you know, there's that thing of runner's high. And I guess it was kind of like that. I've been listening to my brother put together a workout playlist with some really intense rave trance music. So you got this boom, boom, boom in your ears, running, your pulse is way too high for way too long, come this trance-like states of doing that. And in that came to me that idea, like, I'm safe.
Yeah.
So, you know, that informed them. That was a piece of the puzzle for that song, for those lyrics, and the whole album start to circle around that idea.
And your makeup, the clown makeup, it reminds me of The Crow, Brandon Lee's character in The Crow. Where'd you get your inspiration from, the makeup?
The girl who did it, her name is Johanna. We haven't been in touch for a while, and I think she changed last name, meaning that she's married now. But anyway, she did the makeup for a bunch of the music videos in that period. And we needed, at the time, it was just, oh, black walls. We got this guy who can eat the glass from a light bulb and shove a power drill up his nose. Cool. So let's do a video, and that fits with the sound black walls. And what should I do? Well, and then I go around and sing. Cool. How should I look to make sense? And just horror films, clown, scary clown is a fun, endearing, terrifying thing all at once. So this was just to solve that video. But once it came on, she threw some paint in my face. We all felt, there it is. We've been looking for it for years. This is what our music looks like.
Yeah.
So it's just a lucky break and a long journey of trying to figure out the big picture of what Avatar is.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm conscious you got more interviews coming up. So you're coming to Australia next month, to Brisbane, Melbourne, Sydney. And according to Sylvia Massey and many, many people, Sylvia Massey from Red Chili Peppers, she's a producer for Red Chili Peppers and Tool. She was saying that the frontman, you have this wild energy and charisma. At the same time, obviously you have this demonic, you use this demon Satan sort of character. So do people like Marge Simpson, should they be afraid of coming to your concert, or should they be like, chill?
No, not chill either. They should be excited because we have never been better. But no, like it's a very cool thing that I think happens with our audience and stuff, that there's not just a connection between us and them on stage, but they seem to keep finding connections between each other. And it's we've been on the road with so very, very different bands, from Obituary to Baby Metal, and we pick up a bit of people here and there. So it's comparably, it's happening to metal at large, that it's more diverse than it's ever been. But I think in a more and more diverse scene, we are growing a quite diverse crowd, and there's room for everyone to enjoy that moment as they see fit. There is a mosh pit, there's a front row, there are bruises and sweat, but there is also other places in the room to just take it in whatever way you see fit to have the time of your life. So no, it's everybody gets to play the game the way they see fit.
Sure. Can I get a plug from you? I'm Johannes Eckerström, and you're listening to Sheldon Ang Media, from Avatar, obviously.
Sheldon Ang
Media.
Hey, this is Johannes Eckerström from the band Avatar, which is, no, wait, let me start over. Hey, this is Johannes Eckerström from the band Avatar, and we've been in 3D since way before any movie was. And you're listening to Sheldon Ang Media.
Johannes, it is a great honor to have a chat with you, sir. You are, it feels like you are a philosopher,
Well, I don't know, but I'll take it. Thank you.
It's the most philosophical interview I had for a very long time. So thank you so much, sir, and I will see you soon.
Well, sure hope so, man. Thank you. Have a good one.
See you, brother. See ya.
See ya.